This is a quick video to show you how to navigate around in the timesheet. When you open up the timesheet, the middle section here is where you will enter time. Right next to it shows you what pay period you're currently in, and these show you the buttons that are available to navigate around within the timesheet, how to save templates, delete, check the information that you've entered, and refresh the data. We'll talk about those in a second. Over here is an entry view. This will change actually what you see on your timesheet. Right now we have a lot of columns available, and using this button will change how many columns are visible at the time. And then on the far right side, we have the ability to navigate around within days in the timesheet. You do have access to all 2 weeks of the pay period at one time. So you can either use the scroll button to drag back and forth between the days, or you can use these previous day, next day, first and last day buttons. So it will automatically default to the current pay period. If you're wanting to go look at a previous pay period, use the previous pay period button. Note when you do that, you will not be able to edit your time because you cannot edit time in the past. To go back to the current pay period, you just click this button, and you can go to the next pay period if you want to enter time for the next pay period. You only have the ability to enter time for the current and next pay period, so that's all you'll have the ability to do. If you go to the third pay period beyond that, you'll be grayed out again, so you won't be able to enter time. So back on the current pay period. This button here will allow you to save a template. Please watch the video on saving templates to learn more about how to do that. If you need to delete time off of your timesheet, then you would select a row and then just click this delete button, and it will take all the information off that row. If you need to check the information that you've entered to make sure that your attendance and absence types and hour information were correct, then you can use the check button, and that will validate that the information you've entered meets all the rules that are within SAP for your time. The save button will save your time, and the refresh button, if you've made any errors as you've been entering time, will refresh your data to the last time that you saved it. As I showed you earlier, these entry view buttons will change how many rows appear at the top. So if I change this to basic, I can actually get rid of a few of the rows. If I needed more of the information that's on the full version, but I don't need, for example, this premium number column, then I can actually select the column title, and it will collapse that column for me. So let's talk about the columns that are available. Activity type is used by a few bureaus, facilities, water, BTS are some examples. Most of the bureaus out there will not be using activity type, so you could collapse that column if you're not going to be using it. The next three are receiving cost center, order, and WBS element. These three are used to code your time to specific cost objects. Attendance and absence type is where the majority of people will be entering information. This will dictate what type of time you're entering. If you are entering an attendance time, saying that you've worked. If you are entering an absence type, like you're out sick or on vacation, all that is done in this column. External work order is currently only used by 1 or 2 bureaus. They know who they are, and the timekeepers can notify employees. If you have any questions about the use of any of these, just contact your timekeeper. The OT column is where we indicate what type of overtime we're going to be taking within a pay period. So if you're overtime eligible and you're putting overtime on your timesheet, you'll do it here in this column. The premium column is used for represented employees who are working with certain premiums, and that can be designated here. The job column is used for working out of class. Whoops. And the job column, you would enter the classification that you're working under. And again, if you have any questions about these, you'll need to contact your timekeeper. The final column is for FEMLA. If you have been awarded a FEMLA certification, then when you enter time, and it's a FEMLA-related absence, then you will need to enter your request number here as well. Your FEMLA coordinator at your bureau will be able to help you with that. Over here on the right-hand side, let me change this to basic so we can see a bit more information here. On the right-hand side, you can see planned hours and actual hours. Now, if you're a negative time entry employee with a schedule in the system, then you will see your schedule, and you'll see how many hours you have planned for the pay period. If you are a positive pay employee, then you will see different amounts here. You'll basically have an open schedule with no planned hours. The actual column will fill in as you enter time throughout the pay period. If you are not entering any time for the day, then it will default to your planned hours, so actual will show 0, and the system will pay you at the planned 8 hours. So here you can see each day that you are scheduled to work, as I mentioned if you're negative time entry. The hours, you can see the planned lunch break that's built into the schedule. If your schedule is not correct, please contact your timekeeper and they can help you get that straightened out. Just below the timesheet, you have the ability to change the number of days to display. So if I wanted to view 7 days at once, I could select 7, and I get a bit more information here than I would if I only had 2. But notice that the columns are much shorter, so this may not be a good view unless you have a very large screen or dual screens. Finally, at the very bottom, at the end of the pay period, or when you're finished entering your time for the pay period, you would click the Certify button, and that will certify your time and save it as well.